morning, this beautiful morning, and welcome to Idea TV newspaper review this morning. And this morning, I am not alone. I'm with my beautiful, outspoken Gladys.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Hope everyone you are all doing good this morning. Hope to have you here this morning.
Yes, and my name is Mary Ojimajo. Today, we're going to be taking you through our newspaper reviews that we have for you this morning. As you read with us, without wasting much time, we're going to take you through the first newspaper we have for this morning, and that is on the Nation's newspaper. We have interesting stories on the Nation newspaper this morning, and one of the story reads, alleged 150 million naira extortion, power minister reports Lagos prophets to DSS. And that is on page 4 of the Nation's newspaper, and we have frustration as skyrocketing airfares threaten Christmas travels, and that you see on page 7 of the Nation's newspaper. And we also have new tax law. On our big story, we have banks to file reports on accounts with 25 million naira quarterly turnover, and that you will see on page 4 of the Nation's newspaper. And we also have another big story on page 3. We have Dangote slashes ex-depot petrol price from 828 naira to 699 naira per litre. That's a big one, and I know a lot of people will love this and will want to read this particular news because of the season we are in. And that story you will see on page 3 of the Nation's newspaper. I also have other relating story on page 45. Ex-Minister Ngige arraigned over alleged 22 billion naira contract fraud. And that story is here on page 42, like I said. It's an interesting one you want to go through. And we also have another story. Supreme Court affirms Mariam's death sentence. And that story is on page 3 of the Nation's newspaper. Like I said, it's an interesting one that you want to read through this morning. And also, we have no genocide in Nigeria, Tinubu insists. And that's one of the last stories we have on the Nation's newspaper. I mean, the frustration as skyrocketing airfares threatening Christmas travel. I think at this point that a lot of people are actually taking the air because of the insecurity problems we're having in Nigeria, and they're trying to dodge traveling from the road to taking the air because they're trying to keep their safety, not knowing what's happening on the road these days, and they are not certain that they would even get to their location because of the high kidnapping case. Another relating case was saying that is happening on the road these days. So everybody wants to take flight, and I think that's one of the reasons why the price of it's now high. What do you think, Gladys?
Yes, I feel like why people are using air because of the insecurity that is happening in our country today, and they feel they will be safer. Even if it's cost, they just want to be safe. That is why they are using the airline. No matter how the price is high, they want to use it.
Exactly.
To prevent them from being kidnapped, attacked, and the rest of it. So it's a good one at that.
I just feel that that's the reason why they are increasing the fees, the air fees, because it's skyrocketing highly, and people are still taking flights despite all that is happening, the fees and the price. At that point, I think everybody wants to take flight. I think, Gladys, you want to take a flight too to your country.
My place is not far, so I don't need flight to do that.
Are you sure?
I'm very much sure.
All right about now, because of that time, let's take the second story on the Telegram newspaper for this morning. Let's see what we have on the Telegram newspaper. And one of the stories we have on the Telegram newspaper is Dangote clashes fuel ex-depot price from 828 naira to 699 per litre. And that's on page 7 of the Telegram newspaper for this morning. And we also have Ngige rearranged and remanded in Kuje prison, and that's on page 4 and page 7 of the Telegram newspaper for the morning. And let's see what we have on our big story for this morning. We have white cube are becoming rampant in West Africa. White cube are becoming rampant in West Africa, and that's on page 2 of the Telegram newspaper. We also have some relating stories here. We have Nigerians democracy, the vote of rule of law, and that is on page 7 of the Telegram newspaper. I also have NNPCI's over 2 million BPD oil production in 2026. And that you see on page 4 of the Telegram newspaper for the morning. And we have company income tax to drop to 25% from next month. Wow. And we also have another big story on the Telegram newspaper. We have, I'm now number 1 in Rivers. APC, Fubara said, I'm now number 1 in Rivers. That's an interesting story that you want to go through on that. We also have other related stories that you will love to read. And in another story, still on the Telegram newspaper, let's talk about the, Ngige's remanded in Kuje prison over an alleged 2.28 billion naira fraud. Hearing this, I just imagine how discouraging it's going to sound to some people, like what's happening in this country and what's happening to our system, our government system, being that we do not want to hear this kind of thing at this particular time, but unfortunately, we're hearing such news, and we believe that with time, this is alleged actually. We believe that with time, everything is going to be put in place. Yes, and everything is going to be fine, because we are in the celebration season, and all we want to hear is good news. Since I've said that, let's take the next newspaper we have today. Because of our time, we have the Tribune newspaper for this morning, and on page 4 of the Tribune newspaper, we have court remands Ngige in Kuje prison. Wow. It's happening again, and we're seeing it's making a headline here over all the newspapers. And on page 3, we have Supreme Court affirms Mariam's death sentence despite presidential pardon. About that Mariam's issue, I didn't know it was going to come up again after the whole, pardon. Yeah, because she was granted presidential pardon. I didn't know they were going to look into the case. I think it's as a result of a lot of people complaining that it's actually partial, that at this point she's getting presidential pardon while others remain in prison. There are other cases that are more fair than hers, but she got presidential pardon, and some people are feeling cheated, like it's not supposed to be. I think it's because of the much talk about it that they actually brought up the issue back. And I guess, how will she be feeling now? Going back to prison after being out and experiencing the freedom.
She will not find it easy, actually. She wants it to be kind of a new thing again, going over to where you've passed. And
after being
she'll find it so
freedom
difficult
for a very long time.
They could have not released her in the
Pardon her in the first place.
So the whole stuff is worth talking about again.
Wow. And that story you find on page 3 is an interesting one that you want to go through. And we have on our big story on the Tribune newspaper, after Anambra, we won't lose any governorship election again. APC vows. After Anambra, we won't lose any governorship election again. How sure are they that this is going to work?
They're coming with fire.
Okay. I want to say, okay. Their vow is really strong. Wow. And that you will see on page 3 of the Tribune newspaper for this morning. And we also have other relating story. Dangote refinery cuts petrol ex-depot price to 699 naira per litre as festive travel packs. Oh, that's an amazing one. And I know that a lot of people want to read this story. And that story is on page 6 of the Tribune newspaper. And we have another story on page 8. There is no government in power. Tinubu is the person in power. He doesn't share it with anybody. And that statement is coming from Dele Momodu. Ooh, that's a big one. Are you sure of that? Are we even sure? Okay. That's what Dele Momodu said about that. So I am not certain. I don't think so.
You don't think so?
What do you think? Do you think the statement is actually right, what he's saying?
Will I say it's kind of right?
Okay.
He's kind.
Okay.
Because of the way things are going, he feels he owns the power. He's under everything. He's the one controlling everything. Even if even with his leaders
Okay.
at the back of him, he has
Okay.
those supporting him, but
Oh.
he is the head. So he feels he's the one that owns everything. He has the power to undo and do.
That's a strong one. All right. Okay. We have on page 7 another story there on the Tribune newspaper. We have Makinde Sariki Dixon mourns late Bayelsa deputy governor that died at 60. And that story is here on page 7 of the Tribune newspaper for the morning. It's an amazing one. There's one I want to read on page 12.
Okay.
My wife chased me with cutlass anytime we fought. Husband complains. And that you will read that story on page 12 of the Tribune newspaper. It's a very funny, dramatic one. I just want to take that so all of us would laugh. Gladys will be taking us the next newspaper for the morning.
Okay. In another newspaper, which is the Weekend Trust, we have here at page 35, we have Supreme Court holds Marian Sanders hits death sentence, and in page 24, we find the story of alleged 2.2 billion naira fraud Niger recommended in Kuje prison. And in another page, we have page 28, we have how Bacham Chobon relationship turned son. And in the next page, we have the page 10, we have the rise influence of President's son. And we talk about this interesting one. This one we actually interest everybody to want to read in page 10, which is the influence of the president's son.
The rise influence of the president's
son.
Wow.
So I just feel it's now they're talking about the president's son. Like for a very long time, I will say I have not heard of him in the storyline, the news line. It's just today, and recently I saw him on a video where he went to a wedding, and I was like, oh, so he has a son like this. I was so surprised. So I am really impressed that at least he's coming up, like people are getting to know him outside, apart from him being inside.
Okay, should we say when his father wasn't yet the president, we're not hearing much about him, but right now he's making news headlines. And I think it's because of the entourage he's carrying, and that has already also made headline, and he's been on the news frequently these days. Okay, I can't say, should I say congratulations, or I should say... All right, guys, let's move on to the next newspaper.
To the next paper, we have the Vanguard, and in page 18 we can find Eagle Square raises more questions than answers, and in page 8 we can find a story talking about no one will touch money in your bank account. Oyadele assures in Nigerians.
Wow, that's an interesting one.
Yes, it is. And in page 11 we have relief for commuters as Uber Sani maintains a free CNG transport scheme. And moving on in page 7, we have Supreme Court's Fourth Tinubu affirmed death sentence for Marian Sadan. Moving on to page 12, we have bad governance relationship for corps activists react to Benin military action. And in the page 5 of the Vanguard, we have super tanker seized by U.S. for crude oil theft last sealed to Nigeria in 2024. Moving on the newspaper, page 10 of the newspaper Vanguard, we have poverty still rises as FG status, LGA's allocations double in 4 years. These are interesting story in Vanguard this morning, and the top one we'll be talking about is no one will touch money in your bank account. Oyedele assures Nigeria, which will be found in the
Amazing one.
page 8 of the Vanguard newspaper.
Okay.
Is this assurance, is it that it's a permanent one or it's just a temporary one? Because if you look around, you see that most banks, everybody complains about deducting money from their bank. Even when you complain, they will tell you, we refund, come today, come tomorrow. Everybody complains about bank just deducting money from their account. It's not easy when you feel like you save money.
Yeah, that story is actually an interesting one that we want to look into fully. But before we do that completely, we'll go on a quick short break now. When we return, we're sure to give you the rest of the stories.
In green computing, with data centers now consuming around 1 to 1.5% of the world's electricity, efficiency has become critical. Google, Microsoft, and Amazon are racing to power their data centers with renewable energy, while chip makers like NVIDIA and AMD are optimizing for performance per watt. Carbon capture startups are using AI to scale up efficiency, and researchers are designing fully recyclable electronics. In 2024, Microsoft announced it had achieved 100% renewable energy coverage for its global operations. By 2026, green computing will no longer be optional. It'll be baked into how the tech industry operates. Number 6.
Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us through the short break. And now we have the last newspaper for the morning, and that's the Vanguard newspaper, which she has taken this morning. And one of the stories that it's actually there that I want to look into, it's the no one will touch money in your bank account or your daily assures Nigerians. That's an interesting one.
Yes,
now we'll have the confidence that we'll not be seeing deductions anymore. You put your 100 million, it's going to be 100 million. You put your 50 million, it's going to be 50 million.
Okay.
That is how much will you put?
Oh.
Don't mention.
I will not just mention. Let me just
All right.
Uncountable.
All right. And on page 10 of it, we have poverty still rising as FG states LGA's allocations double in 4 years. Poverty still rising. That is actually true. Poverty is still rising. Double. Well. Allocations double in 4 years. That's a big one. And we have bad governance responsible for coup, and that's on page 12 of the Vanguard newspaper. We have supertanker seized by U.S. for crude oil theft, last sailed to Nigeria in 2024. Wow. It's another big story there. And on page 7 of the Vanguard, don't forget to read Supreme Court faults Tinubu's clemency, affirms death sentence for Mariam Sadin. That's another one. Another big story. This Mariam story is making headlines, and I feel that at this point, people want to read the complete story of what exactly went down. And another one, I just feel that some people are going to be feeling, I don't think there's going to be presidential pardon anymore. Because I believe there are lots of people in prisons now that are waiting, like, since she can get presidential pardon, please let the pardon come back so that we can live, at least, so that we can, be settled in our mind that we'll have this freedom. And if I should say, I'm not trying to be biased.
Okay.
But I just feel at this point, we're in the season of celebration. Very soon we'll be shouting a Merry Christmas here and there. And I just feel at this point, everybody in the prison should just go home. Yeah, for the Christmas. Maybe after the Christmas, we can look into the cases. But for now, I do not want anyone to feel sad, because we are in the spirit of the season. And it's a celebration season at that. All right, that is all we have for you on today's newspaper review, and we urge you to follow us on all our social media platforms at Idea Television. Send us your comments, your thoughts. What do you think? Do you think it's a welcome idea, or you are objecting it? So that is all we have to present to you this morning, and I remain Mary Ojimajo, and with me is
Gladys.
her name fully, and then all together we say thanks for watching.